Hello everyone and welcome to the new video of Python tutorials for beginners series. In this video, we will be talking about true and false Boolean values, some Boolean operations, and as well as the if, elif, and else statements. Before we get to coding, if you are interested in more Python content, you can subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to be notified first when I upload a new video related to Python. Also, you can check out the previous videos on Python linked in the description below. Using conditional statements or if-else statements are very significant for building our logic in our program. By using these statements, you make your program more dynamic. So that means your program can act differently on different conditions, and this will actually help your programs become much more dynamic. And honestly, I think you will be using these conditional statements in almost all of your programs because they are so useful. Creating a conditional statement is pretty easy in Python, so let's just create one. Let me zoom in. Yes, now we're zoomed in. We just need to write if, and then we will write a condition here. This condition will be a true or false condition. So right now let's just write true here. And if this condition is true, and right now it is true, let's just print condition is true. So as you can see, the condition is now true, and when we run this file, we will see the output is the condition is true. And if we set the condition to false, we will see that there is no output in our program. And right now it's done running and there is no output, as you can see. But of course, writing just true and false will be boring for how a program should work. So let's just create a variable and let's call it animal. And let's give the value dog to this animal variable. So let's say we want to create an if statement in which we will check if the animal variable is equal to dog. This is actually the equals operator. We just basically write equal sign twice, and this equals operator, this whole expression will return us true if the value animal variable is storing is equal to dog. And in this case, it will return true. So let's just write animal is dog. If the animal equals to dog, we will write animal is dog, and the animal is dog right now. And I also want you to notice that the if statement has a format, and it just follows us writing if here, then the whole expression, and then we write the colon sign. Then in the next line, or whatever we want to write inside the if statement, we indent them. So if we didn't indent it, and if we just remove the spaces here, the code would just give us an error and it wouldn't run. So if I try to run it, it would just give us indentation error. So what we have to do is we have to indent whatever we want to do if this condition is met. And therefore the print statement is now indented. So right now let's say the variable animal is not equal to dog, and let's say it's cat, and therefore now the if statement won't work. So what we can do in this case is we can write an else statement. And also the else statement is very simple to write, and you just write else and put a colon. And also please notice that the else statement is not indented here because the else statement is not actually run when the statement inside if is met. This else statement is a separate statement. So again, we leave an indent for what we want to do when the else statement is met. And also animal is not dog, let's say, because if it's dog, the if statement will work, and if it's not dog, so in else cases, this statement will work. So let's just print, and as you can see, the animal is not dog because the animal we set was equal to cat. And this way, we can write if statements and else statements. But right now, we are just checking two possibilities, whether the variable is equal to dog or it's not dog. So that's just two possibilities. But what we can do is use an elif statement. Elif basically means else if in Python. It's just written shortly as elif. And we can write an elif animal equals to cat. So right now, what we are doing is, if the animal is equals to dog, we are printing this. And if it's not it, so we're going to else if the animal is equal to cat, and we're checking it, and we're printing the animal is cat. So let's just print it. Okay, and else, let's just print no match because we couldn't find what the animal was. And now that when we print it, this if won't be printed because it's not equal to dog. But when we go to the else if or elif, and when we see the animal is equal to cat, this line will be executed and the animal's cat will be printed. As you can see, the animal is cat. So instead, if we change the animal variable into an elephant, as both of these conditions aren't met, we'll just move on to the else statement, and the else statement will just give us no match, as you can see in the output as well. And also, you can write as many else statements as you want. So we could just write another else statement checking if the variable is equal to elephant, and we could just write animal is elephant, and we could just write hundreds of them. Like there's no limit. As you might have noticed, in each of these expressions, we actually used the equals operator in all of these, and actually there are many comparison operators in Python that we can use to compare different values. And let me just write some of these here, just to have a reference on our file. Okay, now these are some of the most basic comparison operators in Python that you can use. And what we've mostly focused on was the equals operator, but you can also use not equals operator or any other operators in there. So let's just make a quick example using not equals operator. So if, let's say 5 not equals 6, which is true, 5 isn't equal to 6, and let's print not equals. And when we print this or run this file, we will actually see the output not equals, because as you can see, these are not equal to each other. Another operator we could use would be less than operator here. If 5 is less than 6, let's just print true. And let's run the file. As we can see, we again see the output. Because 5 is less than 6, this expression will evaluate to true, and therefore the block under the if statement will execute. And if we said if 5 is greater than 6, obviously nothing will print because 5 is not greater than 6. As you can see, we have no output. So I won't go through all of these operators in detail, but I think you get the main idea and you can also try it out by yourself. So another very important topic when it comes to Booleans and conditional operations is actually Boolean operators. So Boolean operators are some operators that let us modify or combine some Boolean expressions with each other. So let me just show what I mean by it. So some of the Boolean operators in Python are AND, or and not, and we will be using all of these. Now let's build some projects in order to practice our knowledge on Boolean operators. And imagine we're building a movie entrance. In order to enter a movie, we will require a person to be either older than 18 or have their parents with them. So in order to write this program, let's just select the hypothetical age, and let's say we're 25 years old, and we don't have our parents with us. So let's set the parents variable to false. And in order to enter the movie, we will set a condition like if age is older than or equal to 18, or greater than or equal to 18, or they have their parents with them. So the parents variable will be useful here. And now, by saying this, we will either require them to be older than 18 or equal to 18, or have their parents with them. So now if this condition is met, we will say you can enter the movie. And if it's not met, let's just print you can't enter. And when we run this code, we will see that we are able to enter the movie. And this is because this OR statement will take a look at either of these expressions being true. And as this expression evaluates the true because 25 is greater than or equal to 18, we will be able to enter the movie. But let's say if we were just 15 years old and we didn't have our parents with us, as our age is not older than 18 and we don't have our parents with us, we won't be able to enter the movie. And this OR statement is actually as simple as that, and it can get very useful in many cases. So let's just build another system in order to practice our knowledge on the AND and NOT keywords. So for this example, we will be building an authentication system. So let's just say a user will enter a password, and if the entered password matches the correct password, and they have done it in less than 3 tries, they will be able to log in. But if they exceeded 3 tries, or they have not guessed the correct password, they won't be let in. So let's just write this again. So password, let's say we entered the password test, and let's say we had 2 tries while entering this password. So in order to log this user in, we will require that password to be equal to our actual password, and let's say our actual password is secret. And we will require them to not pass the maximum number of tries, which is 3. And so say not tries more than 3. So if this tries is greater than 3, this not operator will basically reverse this expression and convert it to false. And now let's print log then. And if this condition is not met, let's print not log then. So you can write in the comment section below what you think the output of this program will be. And let me just run and see what the output is. So as you can see, we are not able to log in. This is because you might think, but now we are having less than 3 tries, and so this expression will evaluate to true. However, as we previously discussed, the AND keyword requires both this and this expression to be true. And as we check, this password we've entered does not equal to the actual password the system has. So right now, this expression evaluates to false, and therefore we are not able to log in. And for us to log in, both of these expressions need to be true. So let's just assume we've entered the correct password, which is secret. And now when we run this code, what do you think the output will be? Let's just see. And now we are able to get logged in. I also want to show you an alternative way of using the AND keyword. So the AND keyword can be really useful most of the times because it just enables you to write all the statements into a single line. However, sometimes these expressions may get longer, and as we have already here, it's just getting a little longer. And sometimes you might not want to keep these all in one line, since it would be confusing to have all of them in one line. So we have an alternative way to AND keyword, which separates these if statements, which is called nested if statements. So we can basically do create a new if statement here. And as you can see, this new if statement is also indented and inside the main if statement. And what will happen here is, now the first if statement will be executed. As we see, the password will be equal to secret. And now the first if statement will be passed. And now you move on to the second if statement. And in that if statement, so the tries won't be more than 3. Therefore, with the not keyword, this expression will also evaluate to true. And then the code block inside this second if statement. So as you can see, this block is indented twice. So you can see, not indented once, and it's actually indented twice so that it can be the code block under the second if statement. And right now, when we try to run this code again, we're still getting the same result and we're logged in. So instead of using the AND keyword, we could just use the nested if statement format like this one, and this would sometimes help us write cleaner code. And these were all on conditional statements, Boolean operators, and some Boolean operations. If you're looking forward to learn more about Python fundamentals, you can subscribe and turn on the bell notifications in order to get notified about the next video, which will be uploaded really soon. Also, if you found this video helpful, you can leave a like and share it with your friends. And thank you for watching until the end of the video, and I hope to see you in the next video.